How can we sit here and honestly say that bills that are thousands of pages long, that spend $1.7 trillion, and that you get 48 hours before having to cast a vote is really legislating? It's not. It devalues each individual member, and it's insulting to our constituents.
Legitimate response.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. This is Legitimate Response, a little show I put together to kind of highlight some of the inner workings of the government, mostly focused on Congress and congressmen, what they do, what they say, what they might do, what they might say, stuff they try to get away with. I try to point all that out, try to put it on blast, and show everybody so we can get some better congressmen in the Congress to work for us, because that place is a swamp. It's described that way for a very good reason. And I found a gem of an interview with Matt Gaetz. Now, if you don't know who Matt Gaetz is, he was one of the leading voices a couple of weeks ago when we did the vote for the Speaker of the House. He was one of the main people holding out, demanding that we have some change come to the House of Representatives because we needed it. And this interview will tell you why exactly we needed it, and exactly what my channel is focused on getting the House to change. Because as you're about to find out, the representatives weren't representing us. The only thing they were representing is lobbyists. If you can become a lobbyist, you can change law. You can change all kinds of stuff. And we're about to find that out. Now, I'm not going to spoil it too much further because y'all not here for me. Y'all are here for the clip, so let's roll it.
We believed that Washington was broken. The normal system of selecting leadership in both parties is based on the redistribution of lobbyist and special interest money. Like, if you want to be the leader of your party, you basically have to raise and redistribute north of $100 million. And Kevin McCarthy was so good at that, he raised and distributed about $500 million over the course of the last election cycle. And so it creates a covenant that's not really built on trust or merit or vision, but trading money for political support. And we wanted to send a shock to that DC cartel system and to say, no, guess what? There's gonna have to be a different way you get there. And the concessions we sought principally fell into like three buckets. Policy. We wanted specific bills coming to the floor. We wanted commitments on when they would come to the floor. We wanted adherence to specific spending levels with a budget resolution. And the organizing principle of our policy goals was really to make sure that we would never again get an omnibus bill like we had to vote on. It's just a total joke of a way of governing.
And see, for me, that's where we need to change right there, because they're not representing us. They're not representing the people they're supposed to represent. And for me, that's wrong. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to influence these congressmen into voting a certain way just because you got money. They're supposed to represent the people, and they're not doing that. That's wrong. Let's roll it.
How can we sit here and honestly say that bills that are thousands of pages long, that spend $1.7 trillion, and that you get 48 hours before having to cast a vote is really legislating? It's not. It devalues each individual member, and it's insulting to our constituents to suggest that we even know what the hell we're doing when that's the way we run the railroad. Second was procedure. You know, having those 72 hours to read the bill, having open amendments. Like the youngest member of Congress was not yet born the last time the appropriations process went through regular order. And that just means like we should vote on the defense stuff separately, and then vote on like the education stuff, and then the health and human services stuff, and that it doesn't just all get mushed together so somebody can vote for a bunch of bullshit that you wouldn't otherwise approve and then say, well, I had to vote for it to fund our troops.
And see, that's something else he doesn't mention right there is a lot of the Democrats and the Republicans, both sides do this. They'll throw stuff in these bills, and when somebody actually doesn't want to vote for it bad enough because of what they threw in there, they don't vote for the whole thing. So then the other person, whoever wrote the bill, can say, oh, well, look, this guy didn't vote for extending Social Security, so they don't care about. So, they do stuff like that, and that's messed up. And I'm not sure why he didn't mention that. Maybe he didn't think about it, but that they do that crap all the time, and it's so aggravating. And separating all this stuff will eliminate that.
Right? That's the game. That's what the cartel builds, and lobbyists make $1 gazillion off of that. The final leg of the stool is personnel. Like, in order to enforce the deal that we got, we wanted specific people on specific committees in specific leadership posts. And, what's the saying? You rob the banks because that's where the money's at. Well, we wanted far more representation on the Appropriations Committee because that's where the money is. And a lot of Americans don't know what the Rules Committee is or why that's important, but it totally governs what we get to vote on and what we don't get to vote on. And so we demanded specific people and specific representation on the Rules Committee. I think we're going to be in a lot stronger position as a result. Like, the critique, I heard a few critiques during this process. One is like, this was chaos. You showed the country, how rough and tumble this is. And, you should have done this behind closed doors. To hell with that, man. Behind closed doors is where the American people have been getting screwed. And so I wanted to level my complaint on the House floor specifically. I wanted to cite the people that I was objecting to and their ascension to leadership. And so that didn't mind. And then it's like, oh no, you burned your whole first week. There are days in Congress where the only thing we vote on is the renaming of one post office. There are days in Congress where the only thing we vote on are the rules that govern the next vote. And we take 6 weeks off every year for summer vacation where we do absolutely nothing. So to take 4 days to say, this is the policy, this is the procedure, this is the personnel that is going to drive the Republican team going forward seems like the best use of time since I've been there. So that was the general construct.
And I'm so glad I found this interview because I've been trying to articulate some of this stuff and I haven't really been able to do it because I'm not a very articulable person. But he said it better than I could. It was a good thing to see out in the open. That's our democracy working. And to all those political hacks on MSNBC, CNN, that was all saying, laughing at the Republicans because they can't get their house in order. Yeah. They're the ones always screaming about democracy is at stake. No, that is democracy. And you just saw it work.
And then, there are people who fear disrupting the system. They think, look, I got here to Congress. I've got a staff that tells me I'm always losing weight and that my jokes are funny. I go home and I'm the big cheese at the Rotary Club. And to every extent that I can have calm waters, the better. And anything that creates turbulence, I oppose. And that's actually a pretty big swath of the Republican conference and the Democrat conference. That is how the uniparty gets to groupthink. Yeah. And I hear all this time these geriatric senators talking about the importance of these great bipartisan achievements. But so often in my life, the greatest moments of unity have been the worst for the people. There's a shit ton of unity to pass the Patriot Act.
What he mentioned right there just now, that's what my whole channel is all about. All those people, the vast majority, like he said, of people that just don't want to disrupt the system, what the hell are you even there for? If you're just going to go in there and just vote with your party, and that's it. You're not representing your constituents. And that's what my channel is all about, trying to point out these representatives that don't represent you, the American people. You need to get those people out of there. And unfortunately, I thought my representative, Clay Higgins, was one of the good guys, but come to find out, he's not. He's one of these establishment
Shut your mouth.
that just vote with his party. And he's a little bit outspoken, and sure, he does pretty good on committees, but he's one of those people, he doesn't want to disrupt the system. He wants to keep it going. And that, to me, is wrong. You should represent your constituents. Should always be fighting for them because that's what you're there for. We pay their salaries. We put them there for a reason. And that's one reason why this video is probably one of the most important videos I've made yet. This is going to be a relevant video for years to come, probably, hopefully. But that's all I got. Y'all just please look into who your representatives are. and find out. It's real easy to do. I'll leave links down in the description. You can go and see what your representative voted for, what they didn't vote for, and all that. And just remember, thanks for watching, and be positive. Peace.